Thank you for joining. Welcome to this super exciting policy paper. Okay, this is joint work by Akshay Jetli, Renuka Sane, and me. First, to give you a little bit of a background, uh, that there are difficulties in the Tamil Nadu electricity sector is fairly well known. Tamil Nadu, along with Punjab, has some of the biggest problems in the electricity system. Um, our history is that first Akshay Jetli and I wrote a big ideas paper about the price system as the most essential ingredient to make the Indian electricity sector work better. That is something that we call the coconut paper. And then we were given an opportunity to get going on taking these ideas and these principles. So we created a whole conceptual framework on how to think about electricity, which is a little different from what most people in India do. In India, people tend to normalize government domination and would like to get on board and work with the engineers and controllers of the government in how to run the control system better. Okay. Our unique idea was that actually these things work better if they are done through the price system. And uh, we had the opportunity to then take this into one state, namely Tamil Nadu, and try to understand it deeply. Okay, because ultimately electricity is a subnational subject. Electricity is deeply local. The issues as you see them in Maharashtra are different from the issues as you see them in West Bengal, are different from what you would see in Tamil Nadu. Each state has to be understood from scratch. So we spent about a year learning Tamil Nadu, and we built a series of research products along the way. I'm going to lightly touch upon them, but sharp, clean, technical, scientific papers are the inputs, they are the bricks of an edifice. And here we are putting together that full edifice, that we're trying to show a full picture of understanding the Tamil Nadu electricity system and offering ideas and knowledge on how to do this better. One recurring theme that we do in this paper is that the problems of Tamil Nadu electricity are too big and should not be studied and discussed in the narrow ghetto of electricity experts in Tamil Nadu. So, to echo Churchill, who said that war is too important to be left to the generals, like that, we would say electricity is too important to be left to the electricity people. Now, this really is economics. This is economic policy. Every economic thinker, if you want to understand growth in Tamil Nadu, which is the most important question of all, then you have to grapple with electricity. Now I'm going to run through a list of propositions which make an argument, and then I'm going to offer some solutions. Okay, so this is a policy paper, and I'm building up an argument of a policy paper. Now, policy papers are necessarily not as perfect as scientific papers. So, you know, our standard drill of how we do science papers. It's an IMRD, Introduction, Methodology, Results, Discussion. We nail sharp, simple propositions, but this is a policy paper where we are trying to paint big ideas about how the world works. So, our claim one is that electricity investment in Tamil Nadu has faltered. When you meet electricity people in Tamil Nadu, generally they are quite excited that Tamil Nadu is a great place where lots of good work on renewables is going on. Okay. And we find, I'm going to show you some pictures in a moment. We find that Tamil Nadu is indeed at the leading edge of the clean energy transition. One great property they have right is that no fossil fuel generation was added after 2020. Just think, in the last 5 years, they have not added anything in fossil fuels. So they are moving to the new world, the post fossil fuels world, the post carbon world. But we find that Tamil Nadu is actually faring poorly on renewables capacity addition after 2019. So for 6 years, Tamil Nadu has not done well on adding renewables capacity. And it's not true that this is a problem all over India. We see peer states like Gujarat and Rajasthan, where renewables capacity addition did happen after 2019 pretty nicely. So there's something that is going on in Tamil Nadu, which is holding Tamil Nadu back. So overall, we find that with neither renewables nor fossil fuels, the situation on electricity generation capacity in Tamil Nadu has not fared well from 2019 onwards. Okay. This is the essence of proposition one. Now let me prove it to you with some evidence. How do you measure these phenomena? We turn to the CMIE CapEx database, which watches all projects that leave a footprint in the public domain. Specifically, in the electricity sector, there will be rooftop solar that CMIE will not see. And there will be some captive plants that CMIE will not see. Okay. Other than that, if anybody is going to build an electricity generation facility, the CMI CapEx database will see it. So they will seldom miss things that are going on. Now, they do the hard work of classifying all projects into three categories. They classify a project into announced or under implementation or completed. Okay. And think of this as a stock. Okay. As economists, we always think of investments as a flow. What CMI sees is the stock. At time T, what is the list of projects that are presently announced? What is the list of projects that are presently under implementation? What is the list of projects that are presently completed? These are all stocks. Okay. So CMI is delivering a stock at a point in time. They know nothing about the flow of investment expenditures because the project is a multi-year journey. So we go back into history and we identify all the completed projects. Okay, so this is a history of all commissionings of electricity generation in Tamil Nadu. And we do this in two ways. We look at the capacity measured in megawatts and we also convert it into real. Okay, all of you know I am very passionate. You should never do nominal comparisons, always convert to real. So here are the pictures. On the left-hand side is Tamil Nadu, the cumulative generation capacity as seen in the CMI CapEx database. So we start this paper in 1999. The CMI CapEx starts in 1995. We start in 1999. And we see that something like 30 gigawatts, 30,000 megawatts of capacity was completed over this period. And this is the history, one by one, of all the completions. So you see the blue line is all projects, the red line is government, the black line is private. Okay. And the same thing is seen for all India on the right hand side, where we see something like 300 gigawatts of capacity completion over the period under observation. What do you see for Tamil Nadu? You see the phenomena that I described a moment ago, that there was like a good time where lots of things were going on in Tamil Nadu, but then in recent years, it has stalled. Okay. So this is how we're making these claims that there is a problem in the aggregate electricity generation capacity in Tamil Nadu. Now let's look at fossil fuels. Okay. As I said, Tamil Nadu is great. Tamil Nadu is at the cutting edge of the Indian energy transition. There was pretty much a stall by 2013. And see the date here, this number here, 2020-02-26. This is the last observed date of the completion of a fossil fuel project in Tamil Nadu. So after 2020, not one has been commissioned. Okay, so this is absolutely cool and remarkable, and Tamil Nadu is doing very well in being at the global frontier of putting an end to adding carbon dioxide. So Tamil Nadu is at the cutting edge of the Indian energy transition. But actually, when you look at the all India scale also, it's quite cool. That for many years, the pace of adding carbon dioxide emitting plants has slowed down. And when you read the coconut paper that Akshay and I wrote, this was of essence in our argument that the domestic financial system has got the memo that there is no future in fossil fuel. So just don't commit money to fossil fuel plants. So even though the state is more ambivalent, the private financial system has moved and worked wonders. And ultimately, Main Street listens to Wall Street, and Wall Street guides the resource allocation. Okay, let's turn to renewables. Again, you see the old idea that Tamil Nadu was remarkable in renewables for some time, but then they've really hit a stall and they have not commissioned anything after 2023. And that's a serious problem because you can't have growth without adding renewables. Here, the all India picture is better. There has been a faltering. So in your mind, if you switch the y-axis to log scale, you will see that there is a straight line in a semi-log graph till here. After that, the slope goes down. Okay, so it's not true that things are hunky-dory, but there is much more activity on an all India scale on adding renewables capacity. India has added about 60 gigawatts of renewables, which is cool. Okay, and in Tamil Nadu, a good chunk of that total is some 17 or 18 out of 60 is in Tamil Nadu, which is again a good number in relative terms. But the point is, if you are Tamil Nadu, you add up renewables and fossil fuels, and it just doesn't square. That where is the growth in electricity generation going to come from? One of the two have to be moving, ideally renewables, and the renewables is not in good shape. Okay, so that is my proposition one, that there is a problem on electricity investment in Tamil Nadu. Now I turn to proposition two. Electricity availability in the future may hamper growth. So look, we were looking back at completed projects. Now let's look forward. How do you look forward? You look at projects that are under implementation today. Okay, so this is the pipeline. This is the shelf of investment projects that are presently under implementation as seen in the CMI CapEx database. And we also look at the distinction between makers and takers. The takers of electricity are all the private non-electricity projects that are under implementation. Okay, you could be building a mall, you could be building an IKEA, you could be building an automobile component factory. All that is. So we make the distinction between makers and takers, that all private non-electricity under implementation projects are the implementation pipeline today that will generate new demand for electricity tomorrow. And the makers of electricity are under implementation electricity generation projects today. Okay, so that's a good pair of things to look at, and we're going to show you an incipient mismatch between these two elements. So here is the two wings of the Tamil Nadu economy. Once again, everything in billion rupees to keep it comparable. And you see that private non-electricity investment in Tamil Nadu had a great time till 2011. All of you have heard me many times in many other contexts say that the great age of Indian economic growth was 1991 to 2011. And you see that Tamil Nadu growth in that period. Then after that, there was a long decline in Tamil Nadu. And there has been some recovery after that. So Tamil Nadu is doing well on economic growth because they have turned the corner. They've got a turning point in their private non-electricity investment series, and it has got back to growth. Okay, nice. So what's the commensurate picture on electricity? And the answer is no. That the stock of under implementation electricity projects peaked at 5 trillion rupees here, and it has just remorselessly gone down ever since. And the latest value is probably like what? Little less than 2000. So it's 1.8 trillion. Okay, so you could say, is 1.8 trillion of electricity projects adequate for 3 trillion of non-electricity projects? And I'm going to come back to you in a moment and say not quite. But I just want you to see the conceptual and qualitative picture. All over India, there has been a problem that 1991 to 2011 was the great age of Indian economic growth. From 2011, big problems showed up in the economy. The left-hand side, the Tamil Nadu private non-electricity investment is cool. They've actually turned that corner. They've come back to some growth. They're not yet as cool as they were in 2011, but they've got back to some growth. But Tamil Nadu electricity has not. Okay. Now, how do you wonder whether these two are in sync? Okay. So what we do is a very crude thing. We divide the two. So at each point of time, we compute the under implementation investment in electricity by all owners divided by the under implementation private investment in non-electricity. Okay. Because government projects will be often things like irrigation, canals, and so on. And who knows whether they use electricity. The government builds a highway, may not use electricity. Okay. So you think of the users of electricity as private, that you're building a factory, you're building a mall. Okay. So the usage of electricity will be private. Maybe government investment will not demand electricity that much. Okay. So which is being conservative, saying let's count a conservative base of electricity users that you are sure will demand electricity. And we divide the two, and in the paper you will see that we make a normative claim for all India that you need a ratio of about 0.8. And what you see here for Tamil Nadu is that for a long time, the median value was like 1.6. And you see plus minus 1 standard deviation. And in recent years, it has dropped below the lower bound. So there is a problem. Okay. In this, I just want to caveat it that there is a big process of technical gains or declining costs of SPV, of solar photovoltaics, also a weaker process of gain on wind. So to some extent, the electricity project costs are coming down. Okay. So maybe some of this problem is overstated. But then I will say, look at that sharp collapse at the end of this graph. There was no sudden technical change. Uh, I recommend people should see the EIE on Moore's laws. There, the argument shown is that you get a semi-log graph where there's a straight line where there are steady gains over long periods of time. It's not a sudden collapse in the price. So if you start from this point and look at this collapse, there was no sudden gain in technical capabilities of either wind or SPV, which can explain that. This is something that has happened inside Tamil Nadu, that the private non-electricity projects under implementation recovered and the electricity did not, and now there is a mismatch between the two. Okay, proposition 3. It is desirable to generate electricity within Tamil Nadu. Why? Because at first, actually, you would argue, what's the big deal? If I have a call center and a data center located in Tamil Nadu, then I will buy electricity from Bhutan and Rajasthan. Okay, so who has a competitive advantage to make electricity in India? It is hydel power being imported from Bhutan, which should be imported from Nepal if we can get our act together, and solar power generated in Rajasthan. These are vast sources of energy and they should be transported. HVDC lines have a loss of about 5% for every 1,000 kilometers. So, yeah, 3,000 kilometers, you lose 15%. It's a bit of a friction. It will become more expensive, but it's not a showstopper. You should not think in a insular way, in an autarkic way that if I'm Tamil Nadu, do I want to grow my own rice? No, it may be efficient for Orissa to grow the rice and for Tamil Nadu to grow the call centers. Okay, we should do trade, right? There are unfortunately a group of reasons why electricity generation within Tamil Nadu is desirable. Okay, problem 1. Buying electricity from elsewhere requires money. Okay, if you're going to buy electricity from Telangana or Andhra Pradesh or Rajasthan or Bhutan, you'll have to pay them. They will cut off your electricity supply tomorrow. And if the Tamil Nadu electricity system was actually paying people honestly, there would be plenty of electricity in Tamil Nadu. So it's disingenuous to claim that the private sector will not invest in Tamil Nadu because they are not sure that they'll get paid. And we will overcome that problem by importing electricity from outside Tamil Nadu. There's something inconsistent there. Because if you were actually going to pay people on time, then there would be a bounty of electricity investment in Tamil Nadu. There's plenty of sunshine in Tamil Nadu. Tamil Nadu is the best place for offshore wind. Okay, many things would happen in Tamil Nadu. So this is just a cute argument that people make in being defensive, but it's really not a correct way to think about it. Second, even on HVDC lines, you do lose electricity when transporting. Every 1,000 kilometers, you lose about 5%. And look, 5% is a lot. You should think of 5% added to the top line when expressed as the impact on the ROE of the plant. This is serious money. So 5% of top line is serious money. You should not be cavalier about it. Third, unfortunately, in India, we have real problems, and there have been several episodes where a state government has arm-twisted electricity generators within the state government to force them, saying, we will prohibit you from selling to people out of state, even when you have contracts which oblige you to sell electricity to people out of state. Okay, this is horrible. It is a lack of sanctity of contracts. It is a violation of the freedom and the property rights of private persons in India. It is a disgrace. It is not how any country should operate. But the fact is, that's where India is. That's the kind of things that happen in India. So it's something to think about, that when there are nationwide electricity shortages, many of your suppliers far away may refuse to sell electricity to buyers in Tamil Nadu, even when there are contracts to that effect, because we are not a sensible, mature market economy. We don't have rule of law. We don't have clarity on property rights. So you have to plan for the country that we see around us, not for a country that we aspire to be in 100 years. Okay. Now, it's an interesting counterpoint to compare with Gujarat, Rajasthan. Okay. There is not a lot of electricity investment in Gujarat, and there is glorious electricity investment in Rajasthan. And there are important differences. For example, in Gujarat, there is no problem of money. Gujarat is fully able to pay money. It's just that land in Rajasthan is cheaper. So The vendors choose to place their solar power plants in Rajasthan, and they have full comfort selling electricity to Gujarat. And these things work out. When I say Gujarat, I mean a buyer in Gujarat. Okay. So while it's true that Gujarat Rajasthan is an interesting situation, this is a special case of where I began at the beginning of this talk, that electricity is deeply subnational. How you analyze electricity for West Bengal is different from how you analyze it for Gujarat, is different from how you analyze it for Tamil Nadu. We each of us need to apply first principles and think about the place rather than having one size fits all. There is no one recipe to think about electricity all over India other than the principles. The principle is a price system. But when you go closer to the reality, Kerala is different from Goa, is different from Tamil Nadu, and each has their own story, their own issues, and they need to craft their own solutions. Proposition 4, a renewables emphasis, renewable energy, RE, is linked to export orientation. This is because foreign financing tends to be present disproportionately for exporting companies, and ESG financing, which is about 30% of the global investable pool, matters disproportionately. So if you're an exporting company, you care more about having RE. Okay, if you were a non-exporting state, then maybe RE wouldn't matter that much to you. But Tamil Nadu is one of the most export-oriented states of the whole country. So they care more because the shareholders and bondholders of the companies that are in Tamil Nadu care about renewables because of the presence of ESG financing. Second, carbon border taxes are emerging. They are going to show up in the EU in 2026, in the UK in 2027, and I expect in other countries, Republicans in the United States notwithstanding. And if you're an export-oriented economy, it just makes sense to have RE, and it improves your export competitiveness. So because Tamil Nadu is a significantly export-oriented economy compared with many other states in India, they care about a clean energy transition more than others. It's wise and efficient for them to not add fossil fuels, and it's wise and efficient for them to build an RE-intensive energy sector. Proposition 5, the status quo is coming under increasing stress. Tamil Nadu policymakers are exhausted. They've been firefighting this sector for years. Okay. And in a way, all credit to them. They have been juggling many balls. They have somehow kept this thing aloft. And we tend to make the mistake in analysis. We tend to think that things that have gone on will go on. But things that can't go on don't. And there are concerns about sustainability of the present system. So the day-to-day firefighting that worked for so many years will increasingly run out of steam. We want to show you two pieces of external impetus and three feedback loops. One external impetus is the ESG problem. One by one, export-oriented firms do not like to buy fossil fuels. Okay, and they are lining up their own RE. And the second external impetus is carbon border taxes. Okay, one by one, export-oriented firms do not like to buy fossil fuels, and they have a bias in favor of exiting from the grid, which is giving them a mix of fossil fuels and renewables. And they will make their own private arrangement about windmills and solar and use ISTS and get to solar producers all over India. That gives you C&I exit. C&I is electricity jargon for commercial and industrial. Okay. So because of ESG and because of carbon border taxes, one by one, there is an external impetus that export-oriented firms are walking out of the public system. Okay. That is called C&I exit. Once you begin on this journey of C&I exit, three feedback loops set in. Okay. Let me walk you through each of them. Let's go to number 2. C&I exit creates distress in the state electricity board because these are the customers who are overcharged. Others are subsidized. Okay. And that SEB distress leads to payment failures, that the SEB is not able to pay private producers of electricity. This harms the investability of Tamil Nadu as a destination for electricity investment. This creates a more unreliable grid, and this will lead to more C&I exit because C&I will think, I want to make my own arrangements. I will build sort of my own private grid. I will do my own sourcing, my own fault tolerance, my own backups. And I don't want to use the public system. Okay, so that's a feedback loop. That's feedback loop number 2. Similarly, C&I exit generates SEB distress. SEB distress generates a high price for C&I. So what happens in India when the state electricity board is short of money? They hit the C&I users with a higher and higher price. Okay, that's Indian populism in action. So the C&I guys say, oh, I'm paying too much from the grid, and they tend to walk out and they go to their own electricity sources, either solar or windmills or whatever, and that gives you more C&I exit. So that's the next feedback loop, that C&I exit makes more C&I exit. Finally, the higher the C&I price, the more the C&I have an incentive to steal electricity. Okay, and that exacerbates SEB distress. Okay, so these are the 3 feedback loops which are grinding away. And all through, there is this one exogenous impulse, which is C&I exit because of ESG goals, C&I exit because of carbon border taxes. Okay, so this is a sweet conceptual diagram of what is going on in Tamil Nadu. This kind of thing is going on in many places in India. The degree varies. For example, you don't have a whole lot of export orientation in some states, whereas Tamil Nadu is special that it is one of the most export oriented states of India. SEB distress is not present in Gujarat, it's present in Tamil Nadu. So the precise story varies state to state. How do you keep this thing going? Once again, things that can't go on don't. So what is it that keeps this thing going? What is all the firefighting that is being done to keep this thing going? 4 things are required and all 4 have to keep on happening. A regular flow of money has to come from taxpayers into the electricity system. A regular flow of money has to come from the financial system by way of debt given to the electricity system. A regular flow of C&I revenues has to come into the electricity system. And the SEB has to work well enough so that shortages don't take off. Okay, this is the juggling that the brave, wonderful officials of the electricity system are doing every day. But they are pushing a boulder uphill and it is becoming harder and harder. Every day, their task is becoming more difficult. Okay, proposition 6. What is required is a great wave of investment and risk taking. Okay, in the olden days, we used to think of the electricity system as something that some officials will design. So officials will design the highways of the electricity system, which are the transmission lines. Officials will choose what is the technology of generation. For example, coal-fired thermal plants or solar-powered plants, or that this SPV plant will have a lithium-ion battery that goes with it. Okay, and so on. Officials would design everything and then they would tender out all this. And that's how the electricity system would be built. But that's not how the future looks. Now we need an RE-oriented grid. What is an RE-oriented grid? An RE-oriented grid is a large number of small lines that connect every to every. And the lines are bidirectional. In the afternoon, when the sun is shining, electricity may flow from here to here. In the evening, electricity may flow in the reverse direction. So it's not the same as the engineering of the roads of the olden days. Now, instead of a one-way road, you need a two-way road. So it's structurally different. At present, RE is grudgingly accepted as a must run. And many times the SEB doesn't want the RE because it's fundamentally a coal-oriented SEB. Second, you need to add a vast amount of RE capacity. Third, you need a vast, brand new storage industry. And fourth, all the heavy lifting does not have to be done, should not have to be done on the production side only. It should be on the demand side also. So the buyers of electricity should be sensitive to prices of electricity, most importantly, to the time of day. Okay? Electricity will be expensive in the evening. So maybe many exporters should be running one shift in the morning from 7 o'clock to 3 o'clock and then run a second shift from 7 p.m. to 3 a.m. Okay, so that they avoid the evening peak of electricity. Okay, and so on. That the demand side needs to change its behavior to technologies that will adapt better. Similarly, every EV should become a battery that sells electricity into the grid in the evening peak. So the evening when the price of electricity goes to 10 rupees a unit, every EV should be a battery that sells electricity back. This will require changes in the behavior of EV users. That if you're an EV car owner, your mental model should be, oh, evening, let me make a little money selling electricity back to the grid. So you'll be more biased towards sitting quietly in the evening. So you go do your adventures at night. But in the evening, when the peak price is coming, sit in one stable place where you can sell electricity back to the grid. Okay. Yeah. So battery of the EV is a storage, and it should sell electricity back. And so in the daytime, in the future, there is an EIE episode on the future of the electricity system. Okay, please watch that. In the daytime, because of solar electricity and because India is blessed with ample sunlight, the price of electricity will be roughly zero. That's a time for every EV, every battery to drink electricity and charge and make money selling in the evening. Okay, that's the nature of the future. My point is, nobody knows the future. Who knows how solar cells will evolve, how windmills will evolve, will offshore wind work, how will battery technology evolve, what will happen with EVs. This is not a stable, boring sector like it used to be. How climate change will go, how carbon border taxes will go. This is not a simple, boring sector like it used to be. This is a high risk, complex, dynamic sector. It requires risk taking, it requires bets, it requires speculation. It requires many private firms to place bets. Some will succeed beyond their wildest dreams, some will go bankrupt. Okay. And then again, the government should not come and interfere and take away the profit of the cool ones that are making a lot of money. Okay. Somebody took the risk of building a factory that makes COVID-19 vaccines. Then a government should not come and grab that profit by saying, no, I will control your price. I will force you to sell these vaccines at a low price. Okay. That does not reward risk taking. Okay. Many people will try many things, and many of those things can and should go bankrupt. But the winners then should reap supernormal profits because it's their payment for the risks that they took. Okay. This is not a world of central planning by officers, clear, forecastable trajectories. Some planning commission document defines what will be the energy mix. This is a land of investment and risk taking. This is not a land of simple, smooth predictability and mere government contracting in a stable, predictable environment. And this requires us to think about private sector participation in a different way. In the past, the government controlled the Indian electricity system. The Indian electricity system is a centrally planned system where the officials control everything. And the officials just bring a vendor. So, like bringing a vendor to say, now you run this canteen. Like that, they bring a vendor to say, here, you build a 1,000 megawatt coal-fired plant. And they give the guy a 25-year PPA. So, in fact, the vendor also is very happy. You've given me 25 years of locked-in profit. I don't have to think. Okay. People love that. The private sector loves to get a 25-year locked-in return on equity. But that's not the way the electricity system will work in the future. What you need is the full power of the private sector. The full power of the private sector is imagination, risk-taking, investment, accessing infinite capital from the global capital markets. Okay, and so on. That is what only the private sector knows how to do. And that is the way you have to think about the future of the Indian electricity system. Proposition 7, Tamil Nadu has a problem with de facto underpricing of electricity. Okay, so consider domestic users. There is a de jure, I think de jure traffic schedule. And then there is a real world implementation where some officers, some electricity linesmen come and negotiate with the household and get some money out of each household. Okay, as we discovered in our Karnataka work also. Okay, so the bottom line, what are households paying? It's very interesting to turn to household survey data and find out what are households doing and what are households paying. Now, what would you expect? What would your prior be? You would expect Tamil Nadu is a relatively prosperous state, so you should be spending more on electricity. It's a hot state, you should be using more air conditioners, so you should be spending more on electricity. Okay, so you would expect Tamil Nadu households should be paying more for electricity as compared with the rest of India. But that's not what we see in the data. The dashed line is all India. The median payment for electricity expressed in real rupees in the CMI household survey data for the whole country is about 2x of what we see in Tamil Nadu. Okay, and similarly, as a share of total household expenditure. All over India, it used to be about 4%, it is at about 3%, but in Tamil Nadu, it used to be a bit about 2%, now it's a bit above 1%. So neither as a share of income, nor in absolute rupees. Are Tamil Nadu households paying numbers that should be higher than the rest of India, reflecting air conditioning and fans that are used in a hot place and the prosperity of Tamil Nadu. Okay, this is just saying that this is out of line. Tamil Nadu politicians need to think again about how they are pampering some of the rich households by Indian standards. If Tamil Nadu considers itself an advanced state, then their politicians need to do better compared with, basically mainline North India is doing better than Tamil Nadu. That should be an affront to Tamil pride. Proposition 8. Electricity is too important to be left for experts in the electricity sector. We think that the problems of the electricity sector are rising to materiality on the scale of the overall Tamil Nadu economic growth problem. Okay? The electricity sector is so important, it will shake the problems of growth in Tamil Nadu. And we have 4 reasons to offer. First, we did a debt sustainability analysis for Tamil Nadu, where we also did some hard work that we reconstructed the financial statements of the government of Tamil Nadu, GOTN, after consolidating in the Tangent Co and the Tantrans Co, so that you get a fuller picture of the government of Tamil Nadu. So we don't accept the raw data from CMI states of India, but we add back the Tangent Co and the Tantrans Co, where we obtain the annual reports manually from the CMI firm database. And the key thing to do is forecasts for the debt GSDP ratio, but more importantly for the IP to RR ratio. And we are able to make these predictions out to 2028 under business as usual scenario. And a quick summary is that the IP to RR ratio will go to values like 25-26% in 2028. And if you do a full electricity reform only and nothing else. So if Tamil Nadu policymakers will only fix the electricity sector, then the IPRR ratio will go to 19.7%, which is a good gain. So 19.7% is sort of the outer limit of bad. 26.1 is very bad things will start manifesting themselves in the real world. We create new knowledge for Indian public finance in this paper because we go study the 2001 situation of West Bengal, Bihar and Orissa, where these were state governments that were defaulting on pension payments. And we find that 26% is the sort of IPRR ratio which leads to those kinds of terrible outcomes. Okay, so the difference between 19.7 and 26 is huge, and that shows you the power of electricity sector reform. Our second argument is that in Tamil Nadu, private non-electricity investment has turned the corner. This is great. Okay, all over India, there was a great problem about an investment boom that ran from 1991 to 2011, and difficulties after that. We showed you the picture for Tamil Nadu. This is doing well. And if all this works out, then a period of economic growth is emerging, but it will create electricity demand, and there could be a mismatch between the recovery of private non-electricity investment versus the inadequacy of electricity generation investments. Third, exporting requires RE. Okay, Tamil Nadu is a highly export-oriented state. They care about ESG financing. They care about carbon border taxes. Private investors will look around the Tamil Nadu environment and say, I want to buy RE because it's just a simple self-interest. It is a consideration when putting a factory. So you will want to put your factories in places where ample, trustworthy RE is to be found. And Tamil Nadu today is not that place in India. It is more like Gujarat, is the place where ample, trustworthy RE is to be found. Tamil Nadu is absolutely unique in that there is a remarkable natural resource of offshore wind. Very, very crude estimates suggest that there is an investment problem of about 14 lakh crore to put up about 70 gigawatts of offshore wind capacity off the coast of Tamil Nadu and off the coast of Sri Lanka. We see an analogy between Sri Lanka and Bhutan, that the hydel potential of Bhutan was solved by the Indian economy, that Indian firms went and built hydel plants in Bhutan, and that electricity sold into India. So in similar fashion, we see Sri Lankan offshore as an Indian problem. Yeah, of course, it is a foreign policy problem as well, that India has to keep Sri Lanka on side to be able to create those enabling conditions. But 70 gigawatts is huge. Remember, I showed you that all the RE invested in India, as seen in the CMI CapEx database, from 1999 till today is about 60 gigawatts. So this one region, one idea, offshore wind outside the coast of Tamil Nadu and Sri Lanka is a giant opportunity. Think of the construction business. Think of the manufacturing business. Okay, there's so much to be done because people are going to put up 14 trillion rupees of investment. This is a lot of money, but this requires Tamil Nadu policymakers to put their house in order. In all this, you have to clarify the minds of private investors. The Tamil Nadu policymakers have to put a down payment of strategy creation, release of documents, and the creation of technical teams and early moves of structural policy reforms so that the private sector will get the message that, Tamil Nadu, they're getting their act together, the electricity is getting better. Small incremental moves, okay, thinking within the imagination of today's electricity authorities will not make serious progress. What is needed is to take this out of the domain of the electricity policymakers into the domain of economic policy and to think on a bigger scale. So to summarize where we have made 8 claims about understanding the Tamil Nadu electricity sector. I won't read the screen once again. You have walked with me through all this. So now we turn to solutions. What might you do? How might you address these problems? So we offer some feasible pieces of the solution strategy. Element 1 is regulatory reform. We have a paper where we bring a new field of India that is called regulatory theory to bear all the working of the TNERC. Okay, so many flaws of the TNERC are coded into the Electricity Act 2003, which is controlled by the Parliament of India. So you can't change that, meaning it is a badly drafted law, it needs to be fixed, but that is not feasible for the Tamil Nadu policymakers. But there are many areas where the leadership of Tamil Nadu can materially make a difference on how TNERC works. And they should do that. When they move in this direction, they will reassure the private sector that better thinking is happening and in the future, TNRC regulation will work better. Okay, they need to do this so that the investability in Tamil Nadu changes and the private sector comes back and starts building RE in Tamil Nadu on a gigantic scale. Element 2 is distribution reform. This is an essential component of the electricity reform strategy. We already talked about the need of a renewables ready grid and taking in all that offshore wind and sending it to production locations all over Tamil Nadu will require improvements in distribution and in transmission. Now, the important idea is you don't have to solve this on an all of Tamil Nadu scale. Okay, so like look at Bombay. Bombay has a great private electricity distribution company. A lot of Maharashtra works badly, but at least you have Bombay working properly. Okay. Similarly, in Gujarat, while the SEB works rather well, Ahmedabad and Surat have private electricity distribution companies. Okay. So you don't have to have one single distribution company and put all your eggs in one basket. So maybe we should do a new distribution company for Coimbatore. Maybe there should be a new distribution company for Madras. Maybe there should be a new distribution company for South Tamil Nadu. Okay, whatever. Think creatively, divide and conquer. It doesn't have to be one giant problem. There should be many attempts. There should be many experiments done in manageable pieces. You don't have to treat the SEB as one big problem. Okay, there are by now private franchisee models. There are full privatization models. There are many ways to skin this cat. At present in India, there have been 32 experiments of bringing in the private sector in electricity distribution, and about half of them have worked. Okay, so A, you should study the half that work, and B, imagine in Tamil Nadu we should try 6 things and 3 of them will work. Okay, so if the intellectual capability of Tamil Nadu is only as good as mainland India, which again is an affront to Tamil pride, then the win rate should be about half. Or maybe Tamil Nadu can do a little bit better, then the win rate should be 2/3. So imagine that if we try 6 distribution experiments in Tamil Nadu and 4 of them would work, then wow, now you've materially moved the needle and you're starting to make progress. Element 3, pricing reform. We have demonstrated that there is significant underpricing when compared with the Indian median. We're also planning to do future work where we will do matching and compare households in Chennai or Coimbatore against comparable households in places like Bombay, Surat, Ahmedabad, Delhi, Calcutta, where there is private sector distribution. So that becomes another line of attack on getting a like to like. And there is no reason for politicians in Tamil Nadu to do more populism than is done in poorer parts of India. In the field of agriculture, a great frontier is solarization of pumps. Tamil Nadu is blessed with ample electricity. We have written a paper and we have built software which does a first principles calculation for Erode district. So we think that everybody needs to think more about pump solarization, and that requires a first principles calculation. And a lot of numbers are being bandied about in government reports, which are actually not correctly calculated, are often contradictory to each other. And you know what? There is no one size fits all. It depends on the place. What works for Erode may not work for Pune district. Okay, each place is different. And so you need all the formulae for the calculations in a paper, which we have done, and the software, which we have done, so that you just put in your list of assumptions for every district, which are the local facts about the district, and you will get calculations about pump solarization for that district. Element 4 is the price system. The most important engine of fixing the electricity sector is the price of electricity, which fluctuates, reflecting supply and demand. There should not be officials, there should not be regulators that control the price of electricity. The price of electricity should be like the price of milk, like the price of wheat, like the price of bananas. It should fluctuate, reflecting supply and demand. Every now and then you will have an outrage that, oh, tomatoes are so expensive. Yes, that's called a market economy. And there is a ready pathway to phasing this in. This can be phased in starting with the CNI and with the affluent households. Okay. This will reduce the burden on grid managers, because actually grid managers are supposed to deal with small errors between supply and demand, not large scale errors between supply and demand, which happen in India because the price is controlled. So the whole electrical engineering of the grid is a mess in India, because we are asking the engineers of the grid to do something that they are actually not designed to do. They're not designed to cope with large mismatches between supply and demand. Element 5 is offshore wind, 70 gigawatts, 14 lakh crore. This is huge. This is strategic. The Tamil Nadu government should play for this. There is a manufacturing revolution around this. There is a construction industry business around this. Okay, and then once you have 40 trillion rupees of 70 gigawatts of offshore wind in the vicinity of Sri Lanka, all kinds of opportunities open up. For example, with fiber optic lines from Madras to Singapore, this becomes a place where you could put data centers and serve the global market with 100% RE. Okay, there's all kinds of things that can happen once you have success in offshore wind. Element 6 is transition financing. We should always break up the problem of the clean energy transition into two buckets. One is the transition costs of getting up to investability. So you need to build a new regulator, you need to do some pump solarization, you need to do some political economy of overcoming special interest groups that are opposed to the reform. Okay, all those fixed costs go into the cost of setting up to investability. Once you get up to investability, you're done, because the private sector will access infinite global capital and build four industries. Okay, the grid will be built by private distribution companies and private transmission companies. A storage industry will be built by private persons. RE generation will be built by private persons. On the user side, RE intensive projects will come up which consume RE intensive electricity. All this will happen once you achieve conditions of investability. So in the financial thinking around climate financing, nobody needs to solve how to build a grid, how to build storage, how to build RE generation, who will build the data centers. All this will be done by private people. On the climate financing side, we only need to think about the public finance of how you get to investability. What are the costs of paying for a reforms program? And there are some possibilities for external resourcing, for official development assistance from other countries. Okay, there are still advanced countries in this world who mean well, meaning not all the advanced countries are like the United States, and there are advanced countries who will put up money to help the Tamil Nadu government overcome the one-time costs of getting up to investability. Element 7 is monitoring the reform. It's always good to think of inputs, outputs, outcomes. So we are suggesting that there should be a quarterly report around inputs, outputs, and outcomes, where we should watch the inputs, which are the things being done within the electricity system. We should watch the outputs, which is like the investments, and then ultimately the outcomes, which is Tamil Nadu should succeed in getting a vast amount of private non-electricity investment. So this is a structured way to think about this. There should be a quarterly report around these kinds of measures. So we're finished with this talk. We are XKDR Forum and TrustBridge. We have a strong set of research products and deep knowledge of the Tamil Nadu electricity system. We are happy to engage with everybody on this call to help you build your work and to be part of this journey. Thank you.